Hey y'all, it's Sheri here with Scrappin with Sheri, and I wanted to show you the custom cutting system from Creative Memories. Currently, these are all the different patterns that we have available for the custom cutting system. There's a gemstone collection, the circles, the ovals, and then the rounded rectangles, plus the jumbo circle that are available to go with the custom cutting system. The custom cutting system comes with 3 different blades. And the blades are different because of the way they're sized from the cutting area, the blade, to the prongs that work in the pattern. And I'll show you what I mean by that. But if you look at them side by side, you can see there's more space between the green prongs and blade than the red. And the blue is even more space. Now, there is a template that comes with these patterns when you purchase them. I don't tend to use the templates very often, but if you get those, they do make it easier to explain where the cuts are actually going to occur. Now, I'm going to demonstrate with the jumbo pattern because I think it makes it easier for you to see what's happening here. Now, with the jumbo pattern, you use it on the 13-inch mat. This mat is great for so many different things, but it's fantastic because these larger cutting pieces need this 13-inch pattern. Now, if I cut with the blue, because of where the prongs fit into the pattern, there's a wide space. If I cut with the red, the blade is very near the edge of the pattern, and that makes the different sizes in the circles. So on the outside of a pattern, if you want the biggest you can get on the outside ring of the pattern, you'll go with the blue because the blue is going to be the largest cut that you can get on the outside of the pattern. Now I'm going all the way around, and I did make sure that the prongs were in the holes, and I typically kind of go around a little bit more just to make sure that it's going to pull away. Once you lift it, it's very, very difficult to ever get it back where you want it. So I've cut the blue one on this. Now let me show you something that I can do without moving this pattern. I could go back with the green. And again, I'm fitting the 2 little prongs into the track here on the custom cutting system piece. If I went back with the green, and I didn't move the pattern, it creates a nice little ring that is really, really thin. You would have to use repositionable tape to adhere that. I could also do the same thing with the red now because the red is going to cut closest to the edge of the pattern and make another ring. Now the way I tell my customers is that the red cuts closest to the track you're working with. The blue cuts furthest away, but the green is between, and it rhymes. All right, so we've got 3 different little circles. We've got the circle, and we've got 2 rings cut out of that because I wanted you to see the spacing difference. Look how thin those circles are, but how perfect. Remember the old days when we used to have to trace and cut all these circles? Now, I could do the same thing on the inside, because there's another track on the inside edge right here. Again, I'm going to fit the prongs into that track, and I'm going to start with the blue because the blue cuts furthest away from the prongs. It's going to be out a little bit more, whereas the red is going to cut right against our pattern, and the green is going to cut between those 2. So the blue is furthest away. And I've got a circle. I'm not moving yet. But I'm going to do the green because that's the next size. Make sure the prongs are in the tracks. Now I have people tell me all the time, I have tried and tried and tried with that circle cutting system or the cutting system, and I just can't get good cuts. I want to let you know that part of getting a good cut for me is always standing up. I never use this system sitting down. Maybe it's because I'm really short. I don't know. But to me, it's just so much easier if you'll use it standing up than sitting down. I think you get more even pressure. All right, so when we cut on the inside with our blue blade, we ended up with this. Our green blade was the next size ring, and the red blade was the next size ring. Now, how is this useful to you at all? When cutting for a project, sometimes you might want a large ring like this, and that's what we got by cutting on the outside first, then the inside track. Sometimes you might want some pretty little rings like this just to add some fun. That would be cute for a page of bubbles, playing in bubbles, or a bubble bath. If you had pictures of the night sky and planets showing, that would be really neat for that, just to give you a different kind of feel with the rings. But sometimes you may want to just layer a circle or a square or an oval using the custom cutting system. And the blade differences are going to allow you to do that. Now, I think I'm going to use the white on the background of this. But I'm going to make a background and then put this on it. Now, a lot of people like to double mat their pictures using some of these patterns. The ovals tend to be my go-to pattern just because most of my pictures are sized 4x6, and an oval lends itself well to that without cropping out much of your picture. Circles, you kind of need to have things centered in the middle of the picture in order to use the circles, but I do like the oval shapes the best. So if I were going to double mat a picture, I would use the blue blade first on the outside if I'm going for this larger size oval. And you got to allow yourself room, because even though you think it's going to cut right by the pattern, it cuts a little further out. Now, I kept mentioning the prongs. The prongs fit in the grids, and I hope that you can see that. But that allows it to slide along the rim without messing up your paper. If you happen to get one prong out and you start sliding, that blade is sideways and it jags your paper. So if you start seeing a jagged edge, you know you don't have the prongs in the right space. So to do an outer mat, I would use the blue blade. And we've got that outer mat. Now, keeping the same pattern, but we want to do a mat inside this, we're going to go with our green blade, because the green is between. And I'm going to use this. And this is on just a regular designer piece of paper. So it's a little bit easier to cut. You don't need as much pressure with it as you do when you're cutting the cardstock. All right. So I've got that inner edge. Now, I don't have a picture handy that I could cut to go on the very inside. But let's just say this is my photo that I'm working with. And I want to make the photo fit right into those mats. I need to cut with the red blade. Oh, look what happened. I didn't get the prongs lined up well enough, and it created a jagged edge on there. So we have to make sure the prongs are both in the track before we start. Now, every pattern, that's actually kind of pretty, isn't it? Might be pretty to put some stickers or a title in. Every pattern has 6 possible cuts, because you can go on the outside track with the red, the green, the blue. So you've got 3 cuts that way. Or you could go on the inside track with the red closest, the green further in, and the blue being really small. This one makes a very small oval. Look at this, how small that one would be. It's cute for a decorative element, but very, very small oval. Now, the oval patterns come in a set of 4. There are 3 circles in the circle cutting system, 3 of the rectangles, and then 3 of the gemstones. Now, remember that you need the 13-inch mat to make this work, but this is a great system for a lot of different decorative purposes. Also, just for cutting your pictures down, if you want to design on if you want a different type of picture with a circle or an oval or one of the shapes. Now, one of the big things with me is organization. And I love that the new pod that came out just recently, this is called the Small Flex Pod. It's on the website currently. And this pod is a great size to hold the patterns for the custom cutting system. I've had my patterns in lots of different things, but I'm thinking this may be my new go-to. It has a removable Velcroed border area. You can move that to wherever you want in the box. And I've got old blades in here still. I allow my customers to use this at crops, so I keep several different blades. But look at this. You can fit all of the current sets of patterns in this flex pod and zip that right up. And it has a little handle. I can see this sliding very easily into one of my bags. And I could even label here custom cutting system pieces. So that's the flex pod. That's the custom cutting system in a nutshell, or in a bag, in a flex pod. But I wanted you to see how it works. I know that a lot of people have a love-hate relationship with this. You either love it or you hate it. I had a customer tell me recently, you know, the more I use this, the easier it gets. And that's true of all of the Creative Memories tools. The more you practice with them, the easier they are to use. So I hope you'll take some time today to practice with this. If you would like to order any of the pieces of the custom cutting system, or the 13-inch mat, or the flex pods, there will be links below the video for you to order those directly from my website. You can also check them out with your advisor. She may have some other great ideas for using the flex pod. Until I see you next time, happy scrapping.